Today, we will explore a fascinating topic: 10 things that few people know about the Virgin Mary. Throughout history, Mary has been venerated and loved by millions around the world. She is recognized as the mother of Jesus Christ, occupying a central place in Christian faith and being revered for her purity and devotion to God. However, besides her role as the mother of Jesus, how much do we really know about Mary? What aspects of her life and legacy remain less known but are equally fascinating? For example, how was her death? In this video, our goal is to deepen our understanding of the Virgin Mary by exploring lesser-known details of her life and miraculous apparitions. Get ready for a revealing journey where we will uncover 10 surprising facts about Mary, highlighting her importance as a continuous source of inspiration and devotion for millions of faithful around the world. Before we begin, if you like biblical stories, remember to subscribe to the channel and leave your like to help us reach more people. Let's get started. First, the name Mary has a profound origin rooted in the Hebrew tradition. It derives from the name Miriam, which is recognized in scriptures and Jewish culture. Miriam, in the Bible, is a significant figure, the sister of Moses and Aaron. The word Miriam is often associated with the word sea, which in Hebrew is yam. The sea, with its vastness and depth, symbolizes greatness and immensity, elements that reflect the divine nature and infinity of God. Second, in biblical accounts, the presence of several women named Mary has generated some confusion and debate among scholars. The diversity of Marys mentioned in the Gospels can make it difficult to distinguish between them, especially in contexts where their roles and family relations are described in an intertwined manner. This is the case of Mary, mother of Jesus, and Mary of Clopas. The Virgin Mary is widely recognized as the mother of Jesus, as described in the Gospels of Matthew and Luke. In the Gospel of John, specifically in John 19 verse 25, a crucial passage mentions, "Near the cross of Jesus stood his mother's sister, Mary the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene." This reference raises debates about the identity of Mary of Clopas. Some scholars suggest that this Mary is a close relative of the Virgin Mary, possibly her sister or cousin, while others argue that the expression, his mother's sister, could refer to any close relative without specifying the exact relationship. The confusion increases when observing other references to the Marys in the Gospels. In some resurrection accounts, a Mary, the mother of James, is also mentioned as one of the women who visited Jesus' tomb on Easter morning. Some interpreters identify this Mary, the mother of James, as Mary of Clopas, adding another layer to the complexity. This identification is important as it suggests a closer family connection between the figures mentioned in the texts. Therefore, the relationship between Mary, mother of Jesus, and Mary of Clopas remains a topic of debate and investigation. Third, the dowry of Mary. In the context of Jewish marriage, the dowry, or moher, played a fundamental role. This custom, which consisted of a sum of money or goods, was given by the groom to the bride's family as a sign of commitment and respect. In the Gospel of Matthew, we find a significant account of Joseph and Mary that illustrates the importance of this custom. In Jewish tradition, the dowry represented the groom's promise to care for and support the bride. This gesture also served as a way to assure the bride's family that the groom was prepared to take on responsibilities and ensure the well-being of his future wife. In ancient times, the dowry could include land, animals, or other valuable properties, depending on the financial capacity of the groom's family. The Gospel of Matthew 1 verse 20 narrates the crucial episode involving Joseph and Mary. When Joseph discovers that Mary is pregnant, he faces a dilemma. Knowing that he is not the father of the child, he initially decides to divorce her secretly to avoid exposing her to public shame. However, an angel of the Lord appears to Joseph in a dream, clarifying the situation and reaffirming that Mary's pregnancy was conceived by the Holy Spirit. The angel instructs Joseph not to fear taking Mary as his wife, thus fulfilling the divine plan. Mary's dowry, therefore, was not just a cultural rite, but a profound commitment. When Joseph decides to accept Mary as his wife, he not only fulfills the divine command, but also honors the moher, demonstrating his commitment to Mary and her family. This gesture reaffirms his willingness to take on responsibilities and care for Mary and the Son of God. Fourth, Mary and Joseph were descendants of David. Both Mary and Joseph were descendants of the lineage of David, which was crucial according to the Hebrew scriptures for the Messiah to come from the royal line of David. This has deep significance in the context of biblical history, especially in relation to the fulfillment of prophecies and the role of Jesus Christ as the expected Messiah. The descent of Jesus from David is specifically mentioned in the Gospels of Matthew and Luke. Matthew records the genealogy of Jesus from Abraham to Joseph, the husband of Mary, emphasizing his legal role as a descendant of David through Joseph, in Matthew 1 verse 1. On the other hand, Luke presents the genealogy of Jesus from Adam to Joseph, but clarifies that Jesus was not the biological son of Joseph, but was conceived by the Holy Spirit in Mary's womb, in Luke 3. In Jewish culture, where marriages usually occurred within the same tribe or family group, the fact that Mary and Joseph were both descendants of David fulfills the Old Testament prophecies that announced that the Messiah would come from the house of David. For example, in Isaiah 11 verse 1, it is prophesied that a shoot will come up from the stump of Jesse. From his roots a branch will bear fruit, establishing the connection between the Messiah and the lineage of David. Fifth, Mary is the figure of the celestial woman in Revelation 12. This passage offers a unique perspective on the Virgin Mary. Revelation 12 describes a vision of a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and a crown of 12 stars on her head. She is pregnant and cries out in pain as she is about to give birth. Traditionally, many scholars and theologians see in the woman of Revelation 12 a representation of the Virgin Mary. The identification is based on several points, such as the crown with 12 stars referring to the 12 tribes of Israel, symbolizing the new era of salvation that begins with the birth of Jesus. The text describes a red dragon with 7 heads and 10 horns, representing Satan. He waits to devour the child that the woman is about to give birth to. However, the child is caught up to God and to his throne, while the woman flees to the wilderness, where God has prepared a place for her refuge. The woman's child, who will be taken to God and to his throne, is identified as Jesus Christ. This apocalyptic description highlights not only the divine protection over Mary and her son, but also the ongoing spiritual struggle that unfolds in the history of salvation. Mary, as the celestial woman, symbolizes the faithful church, the new Israel, while the conflict between good and evil points to the ultimate victory of God. 6. The Dormition of Mary. The tradition of the Dormition is a central theme in the beliefs of the Orthodox and Catholic churches. In theology, the Dormition of Mary is seen not as a common death, but as a serene and blessed transition from earthly life to heavenly life. The word dormition comes from the Latin dormitio, which means sleep, suggesting that Mary peacefully fell asleep and was then assumed into heaven. According to this tradition, Mary spent her last years in Jerusalem or Ephesus, where, surrounded by the apostles of Christ, she prepared to leave this world. Ancient accounts, which form the basis for this belief, describe Mary's death as a serene event marked by peace and love. There is no mention of suffering or agony. Rather, it is a death that reflects her life of holiness and devotion to God. After her passing, it is believed that the apostles witnessed a miracle. Her body was taken up to heaven. 7th, the presence of Mary in Ephesus. Historical records provide evidence that Mary, the mother of Jesus, spent her last years in Ephesus, an ancient city located in present-day Turkey. This tradition is based mainly on ancient writings, including the accounts of church fathers and medieval pilgrims, as well as archaeological discoveries. St. John, the evangelist, is traditionally considered Mary's guardian after the crucifixion of Jesus. On the cross, Jesus entrusted Mary to his care. According to tradition, John took Mary to Ephesus, where she lived until her Assumption. Writings of early church fathers, such as Irenaeus of Lyon and Eusebius of Caesarea, mention Mary's presence in Ephesus. Eusebius, in his work Ecclesiastical History, reports that Mary lived in Ephesus under John's care. In the 4th century, Christian pilgrims began to visit Ephesus and reported the existence of a small building known as the House of Mary. These visits were described by pilgrims such as Queen Eudoxia, who, in 438, ordered the construction of a church over the ruins of the place where Mary supposedly lived. The House of Mary, also known as House of the Virgin Mary, or Meryem Ana Evi in Turkish, is a significant pilgrimage site for Christians and Muslims alike. It is situated in the hills near Mount Pion, close to Ephesus, and is venerated as Mary's last refuge, receiving many visitors. 8th, Mary as a powerful intercessor. Mary's intercession is a central theme in Marian devotion, and one of the biblical passages that supports it is the episode of the wedding at Cana, described in John 2 verses 1-11. In Cana of Galilee, Jesus and his mother were present at a wedding. When the wine ran out, Mary said to Jesus, "They have no more wine." This observation seems simple, but is full of meaning. Mary knew that Jesus had the power to perform a miracle. Despite Jesus' response, Mary instructed the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." This command demonstrates her unwavering confidence in Jesus and her belief in his ability to act. Mary's intervention leads Jesus to perform his first public miracle, turning water into wine. This episode is often interpreted as a clear example of Mary's intercession. She not only points the needy to Jesus, but also actively exercises her influence, showing that her role as an intercessor is effective and powerful. This miracle marks the beginning of Jesus' public ministry and highlights the importance of Mary in his redemptive plan. Saint Alphonsus Liguori, one of the great theologians and doctors of the Church, is fundamental to the development of Marian doctrine, especially regarding her intercession. Saint Alphonsus emphasizes that God wanted all graces to be granted through Mary, showing that Mary's intercession is an essential part of the economy of salvation. He argues that God, in his wisdom, wanted all favors to be obtained through her to honor her humility and purity. 9th, the Virgin of Guadalupe is one of the most significant Marian devotions in the Catholic Church, especially in Latin America. This devotion is based on the apparition of the Virgin Mary to an indigenous man named Juan Diego in 1531, on the hill of Tepeyac, near Mexico City. According to tradition, the Virgin Mary appeared to Juan Diego, a converted indigenous man, and asked him to build a church on the site of her apparition. To convince the local bishop of the apparition's authenticity, the Virgin Mary instructed Juan Diego to collect flowers from the top of the hill, despite it being winter and no native flowers blooming at that time of year. Juan Diego found beautiful flowers, and upon returning to the bishop, he opened his cloak, tilma, to show the flowers. On the fabric of the cloak appeared a miraculous image of the Virgin Mary, which is venerated to this day as Our Lady of Guadalupe. Her sanctuary in Tepeyac, known as the Basilica of Guadalupe, is one of the most visited pilgrimage sites in the world. We hope you enjoyed discovering more about the life and legacy of the Virgin Mary with us today. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and leave your like.